welcome back to another episode of What the F with Sunny LaRue, me, also known as professional martini drinking blogger. Back again with another episode, and we are going to talk about this GOAT, this list of 15 top drummers, because this really chaps my hide, okay? But before we get into it, you guys know what to do. Like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to click that notification bell so you won't miss out on breaking news, updates, recaps, and more. It is the freest and easiest way to support the channel. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, you guys can do that too. I'm on all platforms. My handle is at Sunny LaRue17 or simply Google Sunny LaRue17 and all of my links will populate and you can follow me through that. So let's get into this, because this to me, I'm just like the disrespect, the audacity that these lists coming up with, I'm just over it. All right, guys, let's talk about these GOATs and these lists. I'm so sick of this crap because time after time after time, Def Leppard always get disrespected. Always. And half the people that be on these goddamn lists that these so-called music professionals and these websites dedicated to music can't do what Def Leppard do. Point in case, the top, what is this? 15 top best 15 drummers of all time. And this is coming from singersroom.com. They should have the back of their neck slapped. Edward Tomlin, child, you and I need to have us a conversation. I should invite you to come onto the show here so we can discuss it, because I don't know where you be coming up with this stuff. I don't know what kind of research, but this was as of September 7th of 2023, so last year, not even a year ago. All right? So he goes and gives his explanation. But I want to read two key things, because these are the only two things that I agree with him on. Everything else we're going to talk about. We're going to run down this list, and then I tell you how I feel, and then you guys can chime in. Drummers contribute to songwriting, collaboration with other band members to develop arrangements and rhythmic ideas. Agree. They also play a vital role in live performances. Agree. Driving the energy of the audience and providing visual flair with a dynamic movements. Agreed. Drummers are the heartbeat of music, the force that propels songs forward and connects listeners to the rhythm of life. Their technical expertise, rhythmic intuition, and ability to energize a performance make them integral to the sonic tapestry of the music world. Agree. What I don't agree with is who you picked to be the 15 greatest all-time drummers. Because let me tell you something, not one. You didn't put him on here. And these drummers can't do what he does. I'm talking about Rick Allen. He should be in the top 5. Because nobody can play the drums like Rick Allen, and he got one arm. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's run down this list. This is what pisses me off. The disrespect that Def Leppard gets time and time again. I'm going to tell you, Def Leppard influenced Richard Marx. Should have known better. He listened to Hysteria and said, you know what? Hysteria is so good. The rhythm section, which is Sav and Rick Allen, everything in that song just soups it up. I'm going to recreate that. And he did it with Should Have Known Better, and he had a hit. Okay? And to me, as great as a songwriter as Richard Marx is, and he is one of the best out there, you're not going to get any better than Richard Marx. If Richard Marx writing a song for you, it's going to be number 1. Should Have Known Better is one of my favorite songs by him, and a lot of favorite songs by you lambs out there, and is all inspired by Def Leppard, who don't get any respect. let's talk about this list. Number 15, Roger Taylor of Queen. Now, Queen was my very first concert. I was a 7-year-old kid, and I was on top of my brother's shoulder, and I saw Queen with Freddie Mercury twice in my lifetime. And let me tell you something. Roger Taylor is one of those drummers that, Freddie Mercury was a big personality on stage. But Robert Taylor was another personality on stage, and he was back there doing what he's supposed to do. And I'm like, oh, okay. He's number 15. He should be in the top 5, at least the top 10. Let's move on. Alex of Van Halen, number 14. Okay. Mike Portnoy. I'm not pronouncing his name correctly. So let me see how I can pronounce it correctly. P-O-T, Portnoy. That's how you pronounce it. Okay? And he doesn't have like a specific band. He's been in many, many bands. But he is at number 13, and he is ahead of Alex of Van Halen and ahead of Roger Taylor of Queen. Keep that in mind. Number 12, Stewart Copeland of The Police. Now again, I saw The Police first time in 1983 at the US Festival out at what is now called the Glen Helen Pavilion. And they shut the show down. It was electrifying. And I'd never seen anybody drum like he drummed. And I was like, wow, this is cool. This is cool. And it gave me new respect for The Police, because up to that point, I was like, oh yeah, Police, yeah, yeah. No, after seeing that performance at the US Festival in 1983, I was like, you bet your ass I'm going to go out and buy me some Police albums and the B-52s, if you want to put it there, because they shut the shit down. Ooh. I'm sorry, YouTube, but this is how I talk. They shut the shenazzle down. Number 11, and we have a problem. Charlie Watts, the late, great Charlie Watts, with his little minuscule kit, his 5-piece kit that he never changes, he never adds to it, he never takes away from it. It's a little nice drum kit he got, and he just sits there with his smile on his face, looking all charming and stuff. And while Mick is out there and the rest of the Stones run, and they're all out there doing their thing and guitar and everything, and he just back there be like, I don't need to do all that. What I need to do is keep y'all in rhythm. And he just back there just, and it's like, you hear it on, let me tell you, because I can't play the songs on here because I can't afford the copyright strike. But you hear it in songs like Undercover of the Night. Undercover of the Night. Yes. One of Charlie's finest piece of work. Another song you hear it on is Give Me Shelter. I mean, I need it. Let me go on. Let me just do one more, and I'm gonna tell you how it is. You hear it in Emotional Rescue. Getting hot flashes, y'all. You hear it in Emotional Rescue. Gosh. I mean, we can go on and on and on and on. There were so many songs that when I was researching this of Charlie with Rolling Stones that I had to look up the list because I was like, I couldn't remember all of them. And you just, I mean, anyway, I'll leave the complete list in the conversation section so y'all can check that out. But Charlie Watts, God rest his soul, should be in the top 5. Not at number 11. And certainly not under Dave Grohl, who comes in at number 10. Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters. He's not drumming on the Foo Fighters. But we're going to talk about that in a minute too. But he's with Nirvana. Okay? Number 10. Then you have Lars from Metallica. Number 9. And then they threw in Ringo Starr. Good old ass Ringo. No. He's at number 8. We'll talk about Ringo in a minute. Gene Krupa, number 7. 6 is Mitch Mitchell. Number 5 is Gene Baker. I agree with that. Number 4 is Buddy Rich. Number 3 is Keith Moon. Number 2 is Neil Peart. We're going to talk about that. And number 1, of course, is John Bonham. Talk about Neil Peart first. Okay? Because a lot of people do not know who Neil Peart is, right? A lot of people don't know. Sorry, Diamond's barking at people as usual. So for y'all who was not in the rock and roll like some of us are here in the Lamb family, Neil Peart was the drummer of Rush, and he passed away in 2020 from brain cancer. Rest his soul. And he was electrifying. Don't get me wrong. You hear his drumming in like Tom Sawyer, Time Stands Still. So you hear his drumming and everything, and he's really good. But I don't think Neil Peart should be at number 2, right? Neil Peart should not be at number 2 because most people don't know who he is or was. A lot of people don't know who Rush is. Okay. All right. So that's my thing. Talk about Ringo Starr. Just because you are a part of the greatest rock and roll band ever does not make you one of a goat in drumming. It's the writing of Paul McCartney. It's the writing of John Lennon. And it's the writing of George Harrison that made Ringo Starr. Okay? Perfect example. Don't Let Me Down. All right? I didn't see Ringo contributing into that. That was all Paul and Lennon. McCartney and Lennon. Something. I didn't see Ringo Starr contributing to that. That was all George Harrison. They wrote the songs so he can play in a way that rhythmically he can comprehend. I mean, in other words, they made it so simple for him that you out there can go and play these songs. So, I'm sorry, Ringo. That's a hard no for me. No disrespect to you. And then Dave Grohl. Okay, I get why you put Dave Grohl on there. But if you're going to put Dave Grohl on there, why not put Don Henley? The Eagles. He's a rock drummer. He's one of the best drummers out there. I take it one step further. Why not put Phil Collins on there? Yes, Genesis at one point in time was deemed as a rock band. It wasn't until 1986, Land of Confusion, when they turned to pop. But Follow You, Follow Me, Misunderstanding, must be misunderstanding. Ooh, ooh. Yes. No Reply at All. And even his solo hits. He ain't on here. Oh. Which brings me back to Def Leppard. And like I said, nobody can do what Rick Allen does. And he's not on here. Rick Allen should be in the top 5, honestly. He should be in the top 5. You hear it on Hysteria. You hear it on Adrenalize. You hear it on Euphoria, Slang, their self-titled album, Def Leppard. You hear it. And you hear the difference from the earlier work with like High and Dry album, On Through the Night album, Pyromania album, which is great. And Photograph is one of those best rock anthems. It really is. Foolin'. But then you take Pyromania and you compare it to Hysteria. And you can hear the difference. It's a different sound. Yeah. Helped him to get him to the hospital. They reattached his arm. It didn't work. And they told him, no, your arm ain't, no, it's not growing back. You're not a lizard. You're not going to grow another body part. Deal with it. Rick's laying in the bed. In walks Def Leppard. When I mean Def Leppard, I'm talking about Joe, Phil Collins, Steve Clark, the late Steve Clark, the Terror Twins, Sav, and Mutt Lange. And he's sitting in the bed talking about, let's do this. I'm going to be drumming. And they looking at him like, you're not a lizard. You're not growing back another arm. There's no way you're going to be drumming. But he proved everybody wrong. And he's been drumming ever since with one arm. And you mean to tell me you could not put him on this list? I mean, do you not have ears? Obviously you have ears. You put Neil Peart on here, who many people don't know who he is. They don't even know that he's alive or deceased. And unfortunately, he is deceased. But you put his ass on here. You didn't put Sheila E. Hell, her daddy is one of the greatest rumba drummers. She grew up in that. She's one of the greatest drummers ever. You didn't put her in there. You didn't put Roxy from Vixen. She's one of the greatest drummers. She contributes to their music, to the group's music. You didn't put her on there. You didn't put Ricky Rocket from Poison. You didn't even put Tommy Lee from Motley Crue. And that MF would be up in the rafters at one point when he was young, dumb, and full of... Anyway. This is just ridiculous. And Gene Krupa, for you guys who are out there who's like, who the hell is Gene Krupa? He is a jazz, mostly jazz professional, as is Buddy Rich. Okay. So, Ringo Starr. I mean, really. Unbelievable. This is just craziness. And Mike Portnoy, his bands that he'd been in, among many, Dream Theater, The Winery Dogs, and Son of Apollo. And again, you might not know who this person is. A lot of people don't. It's just craziness. But enough of me ranting about the disrespect of Def Leppard, in particularly Rick Allen, as it relates to this 15 best drummers of all time. I want to know what you guys think. Where's all my music finastas out there? Finastas. Fashionistas. I know y'all out there. Okay, because y'all responded to Madonna. You responded to Jolie. I'm looking for a new love, baby. Yes, and you responded to Mick Mars. So I know y'all out there, and I know what you guys want. What is your top favorite goats in drumming? Who would you name? I really think they need to stop with this list. That's number one. But let's continue this conversation down in the conversation box below. And with that, I have more stories to bring to you. So I better get at it. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.